In addition to gracing us with his presence, Garr has also brought a list for us. Garr, what's this list?
So, yeah, Bree mentioned how there have been a woefully low number of female protagonists in films, female leads.
17%.
And I suspect the number of female filmmakers is even lower.
Oh, gosh.
And so, because it's the beginning of the new year, a lot of people are sort of talking about films they liked from the previous year. I brought some films directed by women that I really liked. Actually, all these have, all but one. Excuse me.
Yeah. We didn't even get into the whole, we were just talking about, like, the plots and content of films, like, behind the scenes, and, there's so much. But, Garr, please tell us what we should be looking out for.
So, Certain Women, directed by Kelly Reichardt. It's a movie, it's sort of one of those vignette films. You've got 3 different distinct stories, and they're very loosely stitched together, but it's a very interesting film in that it really is looking at everyday women. Like, it's not one of these films where you have characters, women or men, who are like, oh, that's someone I could never be, or someone I would never meet. These are folks that you would pass on the street.
Ordinary women.
Ordinary women.
Not ordinary is a really kind of... Is that a negative
It's a
word?
negative connotation, but I think...
Everyday women.
Everyday women. There you go.
Everyday people. What's that from?
Is that...
It's like a song, but it was definitely in some campaigns, an ad campaign.
Right? Fast food?
Everyday people.
Oh, man.
Okay, I can't sing. I don't know why I did that. That was horrible.
People.
Coke. Jeans.
I feel like it was,
Walmart.
maybe it was like an insurance.
Oh, maybe insurance or a bank.
Or a bank.
Oh, yeah, could be a
Well,
bank. Citizen Bank? I don't know.
That would work.
Yeah. There you go, Citizen Bank.
Iris. We do advertising. Sorry.
Go on.
American Honey, written and directed by Andrea Arnold. It's about a young woman who goes on the road. It's a road movie with a group of young people selling magazine subscriptions. The operation itself is a little shady, but Andrea Arnold, a very talented filmmaker. If you've ever seen Fish Tank, that is another film. She's a British filmmaker.
I loved American Honey. I watched it a couple days ago. I really enjoyed it a lot.
She delves into poverty a lot, as she does in American Honey and as she does in Fish Tank.
Yeah. Oh, and I was just going to say, I love how she uses a lot of actors that aren't actors. They're not trained. They're real people that have experienced the things that she talks about.
Yeah, both leads in those films are non-professional actors.
And then there's Shia LaBeouf. Who? I mean, you could make an argument. I'm just kidding. I actually think he's a good actor when he doesn't do things that are shitty.
I think he... okay. I have such mixed feelings about Shia LaBeouf. Like, he's not a great human, but he's a child star, and I feel like we give a lot of forgiveness to female child stars that are going through a tough time, like Britney Spears. I was rooting for Britney. I was rooting for her to do better. Amanda Bynes.
I'm still rooting for her.
I'm still rooting for her too, and I'm rooting for Lindsay Lohan. Like,
Me too.
It's hard to be a child star, and so I'm rooting for Shia LaBeouf to kind of break out of that situation.
I think he's trying.
I think he's definitely trying.
But I do think that female child stars have a harder time because it depends on what they do, what kind of stuff they work on. But the sexualization at a really young age, especially like Britney Spears. I mean, we could do a whole podcast on.
No, I definitely agree with that. I think they have a much harder time in the industry. Yeah. But I think that just like being a child star in general is not easy. And the horror stories that come out of it. Like I'm always rooting for child stars. I'm still rooting for Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
I am. Like when he did that awful Good Morning America song how many months ago? That was a few months ago, and it was just a really bad performance. It made my heart hurt, and everyone was laughing at him and making him into a joke, and it wasn't okay. It's not okay. Yeah. We don't take care of people in this industry.
No, there's a lot of problems with child stars. It was only like maybe 20 years ago that they started putting in regulations on how the money can be handled that they make. You know, like that's new, and some of the people that are former child stars and they're adult stars now, they were taken advantage of in a lot of ways by not just the industry people, but a lot of times by their parents.
Yeah.
In a really gross way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sidetrack. Garr.
Sorry. Finish your list.
The Edge of 17, written and directed by Kelly Freeman Craig. It's a coming-of-age dramedy with Haley Steinfeld. People might remember her from True Grit, the new one.
She was also in that movie with Mark Ruffalo. Begin Again.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
I love Mark Ruffalo.
That was fantastic.
If something bad comes out about him, I swear.
It won't. It won't.
Because he's perfect.
He's a national treasure.
Yeah, even when people were saying, wasn't he defending, when some of the Avengers were saying some things that were, like, not okay, he was like, yeah, maybe don't say that.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
He's like an actual human.
Yeah, I respect
love
him.
Let's just swoon over him for a minute. And Haley, because she's a great actress.
She is great.
She's so good in Edge of 17.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of coming-of-age movies with girls, like girl characters. There's some, but the amount that you have with boys is, like, substantially more.
One of the things I really liked about this one is it's not afraid to, like, show being a teenager in all its warts.
Yeah.
Like, it's genuinely funny and it's genuinely upsetting at times. It's a good film.
I'll have to check it
His
out.
life, genuinely funny and genuinely upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
Lately,
One or
it's
the other.
genuinely upsetting. Let's.
We all know who the president is, Garr.
This is not a politics podcast.
Let's keep it light today. Let's keep it light and talk about abortion.
Does he have more?
I have one more.
Oh, okay.
13th, which is available on Netflix streaming. It's a documentary by Ava DuVernay. Since we are recording this on Martin Luther King weekend, Ava DuVernay directed Selma. So there you go, about the marches.
And she created, what's that show we like?
Oh, Queen Sugar.
Queen Sugar, which is amazing.
Oh, which, by the way, first TV show ever to have all female directors for a season, and their first season. First season, all female directors. Jessica Jones is doing it too, but Queen Sugar was the first one to do it, and it was their first season, because when you are a woman in the industry of power, you need to champion other women, and that is how we have change.
And that's exactly what she's doing, and she's amazing, and we love her, and we love Queen Sugar. We need to finish it.
It's so good.
Have you watched it? Garr.
What's it?
Get on it.
How can people watch it?
It's on OWN.
Okay. I should mention very quickly, 13th is about the passing of the 13th Amendment and how our sort of prison complex has gone on to supplant that, in the sense that you have a very disproportionate percentage of the population, specifically black men, being imprisoned.
Everyone needs to watch it. Everyone in this country should watch that documentary. I feel that in my bones, that if you watch it, you can't... It's a documentary where no matter what your opinion is, when you're watching it, you will definitely think twice. I love that documentary. It's wonderful.
Great.
Do you have anything else? I see
I have
Rogue One on there.
I do. So there were a few films not directed by women, but films that feature strong or interesting female roles that came out last year. Among them, 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is a very loose sequel to Cloverfield. It stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Moana.
You love her.
You love
Don't
her.
you love her?
It also has... Sorry. It also has my boy, John Goodman, in it.
John Goodman.
My boy.
I was going to say, not as much as you love...
Brie Larson.
Yes.
Calm down. Calm down.
If people haven't seen Short Term 12, also available on Netflix streaming.
It is.
That's a good film.
She is amazing.
Yeah. She is.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Moana was another one, Disney animated film. I really liked that. Was surprised by how much I liked it, actually.
Yeah, and actually was got a pretty good response from the Polynesian community. When I went to see it, I was like, how do I feel about this? I don't know. I mean, it's not really my place to, like, decide whether this is a good representation or not. And I read a lot of articles, and the general consensus is that it did a really good job. So
well, it's also nice because it doesn't do the like romance trope, falling in love with a prince, and she is victorious through compassion. rather
Yeah.
than
Yeah,
violence or anger.
and also she, oftentimes when you have a female hero that has like I wouldn't call him a sidekick, Maui, but when she has like a male companion, it's always a male companion that saves her ass. And then like gets all the credit for it. But she really was the one I mean, he did save her a time or two, but she was the one that like fixed everything and made it all better and she was a real hero. I liked that.
I haven't seen it.
Well, spoilers.
You know I like spoilers.
I know you do.
That's right.
Sometimes I do it on purpose because I know you like it.
I love spoilers. I'm like, oh. But it just makes me want to watch the film more. You got Rogue One on there?
And Rogue One, which
I did see Rogue One.
everyone has seen.
Nothing specific
no.
to say about that?
Brie
I
hasn't
haven't.
seen it.
Oh, I mean,
Matt hasn't seen it.
Not everyone has seen Rogue One. That was
Not everyone.
That is an error on my part.
Mm-hmm.
It's got Felicity Jones plays a rebel fighter, and she's really the central character in the film.
A lot of people had issues with Rogue One, and I feel like those people are being too precious.
What were their
With it.
issues?
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, let's not get too like this is not a Rogue One podcast, but
there were just many issues, and it did have flaws. It is not a perfect movie.
No.
The reason why I loved Rogue One and I love that character in particular is because her motivation is scattered for why she's doing everything, which I appreciate because that's much how my brain works. And I'm not always ready for a fight, and that's okay. I don't have to fight for every single cause. And she doesn't want to in the beginning. And the reason why she does is very personal to her. And that was one of the issues that some people had with the film, was that she wasn't an onboard hero from the very beginning, ready to go into war.
I mean, I personally appreciate more heroes that go into action because they have a reason, they have something that's really personal to them, rather than a character that is destined or chosen. I'm pretty sure that's what happens in the original Star Wars, right? Because, I mean, I've kind of seen it.
It's your destiny.
Right? So, I mean, I actually prefer a hero that is very intentional and has a reason and a passion, as opposed to one that's just chosen.
Yeah. Also, the end of Rogue One kind of made Princess Leia a little more snarky and sassy for me, which I appreciated. In A New Hope, to me, after I watched Rogue One, I had more appreciation for Princess Leia. If you watch them back to back, she's real sarcastic and just shade for days. I appreciate that. I don't think a lot of people picked up on that. I think that not the worries, but the judgments came with the particular scene at the end were more logistics, and nobody really cared about the characters and how they were helpful or how they changed from one movie to the next.
Well, when you have a movie, especially that has a really established and fervent fan base, that has a female lead, right? Is she the lead?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna be looking for things to complain about. They're gonna be looking for it. And even if it's not a female lead, if you have something that people are really precious about, something that has a lot of nostalgia factor to them, people are gonna find things to have a problem with. That's what they do. And
that's what's happening with this film. They're searching, and like I said, it is not perfect. There were a lot of things that I was like, come on. But I feel like the general consensus is, I really liked it, but here are the top 10 things that I hated about it. And why? Why? Why can't you just say, I enjoyed it? This film did what it needed to do, which is fine. Like, that's okay. I feel comfortable with this film being in the franchise. Can't we just be okay with that?
Yeah. Although I do like to be critical of things even if I like them. But
I like to be critical of things even if I like them. I'm a big fan of horror movies, and I'm critical of every single one of them. So I get that, and I get, like, the fandom, but we can't have that Star Wars magic again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, it's just not going to happen again.
Yeah.
And so you can either continue the franchise and just enjoy what's going to happen and be okay with the stories and like going to the movies and watching it, or you can sit there and wish for magic that's not coming.
Or you can just choose not to watch the new ones if you
Yeah.
want to, like, keep your precious little box of
If you
feelings.
want to sit in your Star Wars bubble, like, fine. But it's too forced if you try to make that magic again, which is what happened.
Sorry, you said forced.
Go ahead.
No, that was his joke.
We're going to actually make a joke?
Of
Or
course.
No, that was a force.
Force.
That's force. I derailed that. I apologize.
I just feel like it's forced if you try to make magic again, which is what happened so many years ago with the episodes that are not to be named, and they were awful. They're unwatchable to me. So, like, why just stop? Just stop. Rogue One was fine.